Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to my new video where we are going to go over 5 tips that are going to help you with Pantheon with his new rework. So, the reason I wanted to put this out right on the release date is that a lot of people take them first time into rank, which is really not a smart way to approach it. What you want to do is play it in normals, and if you're struggling to get it in normals, go to Twisted Tree Line, go to Blind Pick, and hover it right as the position right as you're logging into that, and it is really easy to get games. That's how I get a lot of my games on the new champions. So, if you're new to my channel, my name is LowFit. I do educational guides, tips videos, guide videos, a whole bunch of different stuff. I also stream over on Twitch and Discord if you would like to follow me over there and just ask me any questions directly. I try to be as interactive with you guys as possible because that is kind of how I separate myself from the bigger channels, and I really just, the whole goal behind my channel is to help people get better in League. So without further ado, let's jump right into the tips. Alright, and jumping into tip number 1, I want to talk about the difference of the ult skill shot reticule. It is a vast improvement in my opinion, and it's going to provide a lot more utility in the really heavily condensed pits of the Dragon and Baron. How you can look to use this differently is if you want to poke out people, say you have a bunch of low health people on the Baron pit, but you do not want to commit because if the 4 people turn on you, you will die. This is a pretty common occurrence when you are losing the game. As long as they are in this strip, they are going to take damage from you, and as long as your spear lands on the other side, you are able to go over the wall. See how it did damage to that? And then going over it, this is going to be a good way to just do a bit of damage. Now obviously it isn't going to be doing as much as the center doing 700, but it can be a good way to get a bit of poke off of people, and it can also bait out some abilities, because with the previous Pantheon, when they saw the reticule at all, they knew that that Pantheon was going to just jump down right there, and he wasn't going to escape. So just keep this in mind, and that is going to wrap up my tip number 1. Alright, and for tip number 2, I want to talk about the runes and why it is so insanely important to go Conquer on this if you want to play this in a carry type style. With the previous Pantheon iteration, it was either Aftershock or Electrocute was the main rune, and now it is going to be changing up quite a bit. The only time you might consider going Aftershock on this is when you want to go tank, or maybe you're doing some kind of silly support Pantheon. But the reason why Conquer is going to be so strong is because of this W bonus. I want to show you how quickly you can stack up Conquer. See how we're at 2 stacks, and if you get a Mortal Will bonus on your W, 3, 4, 5. Look at that. That is some of the quickest Conquerors stacking. It is similar to what an Urgot can do with his W, so keep this in mind when you are looking to play this out. And with just his all-in ability and his ability to slow the target now with this Q on top of his stun, he is just really going to have a lot more chase down potential than he previously he just had the stun. Now he has an extra slow to chase people down, and it is going to be really strong, and it is going to provide you a longer all-in window. And having longer all-in windows, you do not have to rely on super short burst trades with Electrocute. So please give Conquer a try on him. It is going to be extremely effective. And then also you can stack your Conquer from range but still have the melee buff duration of it. If you didn't know, ranged champions, the Conquer goes away very quickly, but being a melee champion, you get this very long stack up, and it's just going to, as you can see, it is just going to stack up so quickly, and it is going to be rather strong because you have really good scalings with AD through your E and your Q. Obviously your W and your R are still AP because I guess they wanted to have the AP build stick around a little bit longer. But yeah, that is my tip number 2. Be very cognizant of your runes. Oh, and a couple other caveats. If you are looking to bully out lane, you can still go the sudden impact to get the extra lethality and a little bit extra burst, but I still heavily recommend the precision tree first. All right, and jumping into tip number 3, I want to talk about a couple things that you might not know, and that is just how you can use your flash to amplify some of your abilities. I want you to check out this E. Pantheon braces his shield, engages enemies in a chosen direction for 1.5 seconds, becoming immune to damage from that direction and dealing 421 physical damage over the duration. The last hit slams with Pantheon shield, dealing 255 plus 451, which is just more than 100% AD ratio. This last auto on your E is just going to be extremely strong. So how you can look to get a little bit of burst if you would want to do that, say you wanted to feign retreat and lure them deeper down the lane, you would E away, and then you could flash in for that final hit. You can flash when you are doing your E. That is the main point that I want to keep you guys in mind, but flashing your E extra damage will give you a lot of extra damage. Then obviously with the Q, you can do a flash Q, and I just want to make sure that you guys were aware of the two different ways you can flash. The W is still a targeted stun, so it obviously you can't really, I mean, you can flash W, but there isn't a way to do it the other way around just because it is a little bit targeted. I mean, with the E and the Q, these are the two major things that I wanted you guys to keep in mind. And then also with the E, if you are super new to it, you won't know, but you cannot change the direction of your E no matter which way you go. It is always going to be where you first placed it. So think of it as a Braum E. And then also if you are looking to help out a team, maybe they engaged without you, which is very common in solo queue, particularly when you're a top laner. If you want to try and get in front of the team with your E, you can look to W in and then the E to kind of get closer to a champion. Maybe you have a fellow diver like Kha'Zix and you want to take a little bit of damage for him. Maybe they have skill shots. That would be the very appropriate way. But something that is not similar to Braum is that it is only for you. It is not for your allies behind you. This is why he is not going to be played much as support. I've seen maybe one game on pro builds right now that is a game of support. So you're not going to be able to block autos, but you will be able to block skill shots for your allies. And that will wrap up tip number 3. Okay, and getting into tip number 4, I think. Let's go into the different empowers. So how you can empower your Q is it deals an additional 240 plus 300, and this is scaling with level and with AD, close to about 70 or 80% AD ratio. And then if you empower your W, this is the thing we talked about earlier, how you can really quickly stack up your Conquer, correct, with the additional 3 strikes at the start, so you can have your full Conquer proc up for your Q and your E damage. And then finally with the Mortal Will bonus, when you have it empowered, it is a bit longer. So how I want you guys to look to play this out: if you are winning the lane and you're bullying the enemy, but you're struggling to land skill shots, empower a Q thrust. Very hard to miss skill shot, and it is instant, so it is almost impossible to dodge unless they predict you throwing out your Q. Next up, if you are playing against someone that is kind of low HP and you can possibly get an execute on them, doing a held Q Mortal Will bonus is going to be quite effective for you. It is going to be a little bit easier to dodge as it is similar to a hook, and it can apply the execute on the lower HP targets. Next up, if you want to get a extremely quick empowerment on the W, this would probably be beneficial in trades that are going to last a while through several different rotations. This would be the time to get that really quick 3 auto attack proc, also synergizing with things like Titanic, Wits End. You get the deal, any kind of on hit ability. And next up, this is really where I like the versatility coming in for Pantheon. Empowering your E is going to be great for when you're playing him in a tough matchup. Say you're playing against a Renekton that just really has your number and is beating you up in lane. Empowering your E and giving you that extra bit of invulnerability is probably going to deny maybe a auto attack or two, and might be that difference between you getting away and not. Also, this is going to be very nice when people try to tower dive you, as happens sometimes in the top lane. So keep that in mind. Those are kind of the 4 different situations I went over to empower what ability. You don't want to be using it nilly-willy when you are just doing it with no thought and just doing it the same way over and over again. Different situations are going to call for different empowerments, and that will wrap up this tip. All right, and jumping into the final tip. This is the tip going on for all those people that might be struggling to climb. Maybe they're in iron to platinum and they really have a terrible mindset of blaming their teammates, right? They're like, I could climb so much if I just had better teammates. The fact of the matter is you're never ever going to get better teammates in the elo that you are on an average basis. They are pulled from the same pool. So how you want to climb is be better than the average player in your elo. That is just the easiest way to climb out, unless you're some just micro genius. So how we want to play this out with Pantheon: he has a great push. He's going to have a lot of lane priority. He is going to be a lane bully. How you want to spread your lead out is not just killing the same guy over and over and over again for diminishing returns, going down to 100 gold or something if you're just really putting him in the dirt. How you want to play this out is maybe even going something like water walking, going something like Yomu's, and looking to fight in different parts of the map with your ultimates, and it is just really going to provide a lot of pressure around the map. My favorite thing to do when I'm winning top lane is to affect the enemy jungler, because first of all, I'd be getting my jungler ahead. I would be pinging him, telling him, let's invade this jungler at his red, let's bring sweepers or a control ward, and let's sit in this bush and just wait for the guy to come over and get his red buff. And what you're going to do is you're going to put your jungler ahead, so your jungler is going to be able to affect more of the map. You're going to put the enemy jungler behind, so he's going to be able to affect less of the map, and it's really just going to be overall great for your team. Also, what this is going to do, warding out the enemy jungler, is going to allow your team to see that they can go all in. There might be a Zed in the mid lane. There might be a Blitzcrank Draven in the bot lane that are like, fuck, I don't know where this jungler is. Maybe we shouldn't go all in. But if they have it warded, this is going to help your team. So always look, when you have your enemy pushed in the tower and there's no ability to tower dive them, look for wards, look for invades, and then particularly with Pantheon in his grand Skyfall, it is just going to be really, really important to use his roaming ability, right? Being a semi-global ability at 16, you're going to have to get a little bit closer, but I think this is just going to be a great style for Pantheon. And then also with Rift Scuttlers, it is just really easy work because you have a stun, right, with your kit, and then being in a solo lane, you are just going to have a lane, or you're going to have a level advantage over the jungler that might roam and look to stop you. So that is going to wrap up my 5 tips, guys. If you have your own tips, I'd love to hear your thoughts down below, and yeah, take it easy.